Thank you. I'm here today as a concerned citizen and as a board member of an organization, Jewish Voice for Peace, that cares greatly about this issue. Jewish Voice for Peace is a diverse and democratic community of individuals inspired by Jewish tradition to work together for equality, social justice, and human rights, to support the aspirations of Israelis and Palestinians for security and for self-determination. We have heard, and will continue to hear today, many concerns and first-hand accounts of discrimination and mistreatment of Arab Americans and Muslim Americans visiting or trying to visit Israel. Members of Congress and the State Department have been presented stories of discrimination of American citizens of Arab and Muslim background who were forced to endure humiliation and clearly unnecessary searches when trying to enter Israel. Being told, as we just heard, that the State Department couldn't help an American citizen fight her denial into Israel because she is not Jewish is simply unacceptable. We believe that all U.S. citizens should be treated with respect and dignity when they travel to any country. This kind of treatment is not happening in the case of Israel. Therefore, Jewish Voice for Peace is calling for the following. We urge members of Congress not to allow Israel to enter the Visa Waiver Program until it eliminates its policies of profiling Arab and Muslim Americans and shows a commitment to treating all U.S. citizens with dignity and respect. We ask that members of Congress call upon the State Department to provide an annual briefing to appropriate congressional committees about the treatment of U.S. persons at Israeli points of entry, and that the State Department record and document incidents of harassment and discrimination of U.S. citizens of Arab and Muslim background visiting Israel. As members of the Jewish community, we call upon Israel to end its discrimination of U.S. citizens of Arab and Muslim background and to stop denying entry to Arab and Muslim Americans. Further, while the majority of those harassed are disproportionately Muslims and Arabs, there are also documented cases of political activists who are not Muslim or Arab being detained and denied entry. This too is unacceptable. Having a political perspective that is not aligned with the Israeli government should not be cause for refusing a person entry into the country. That would not be acceptable anywhere else and should not be acceptable for Israel. Finally, despite claims by some that Israel does not discriminate against Arabs and Muslims or that it does what it does because of security concerns, documentation to the contrary, as in the case of this briefing today, is ample and has been repeatedly provided. We and others here today are able to offer any additional information you may need to reveal that Israeli government behavior is not about security, but rather is politically motivated, is about intimidation, and is clearly discriminatory in nature. Jewish Voice for Peace feels strongly about this issue and other issues related to Israeli government policies that are discriminatory. We have also been quite concerned when we hear it said that the Jewish community supports these policies. Hundreds of thousands of Jews across the U.S. do not support these Israeli government policies and instead support a platform based on human rights and equal rights for all. For those who may not be familiar with Jewish Voice for Peace, we have over 140,000 supporters, a rabbinic council of several dozen members, a vibrant youth wing, and 40 chapters nationwide engaged in work that reflects the views of Jews who are partners in a wide range of organizing and advocacy for peace and for justice, such as, for example, for academic freedom, against Islamophobia and anti-Muslim bigotry, and for the kinds of fair policies and practices we are calling for today. As Jews who historically faced ethnically based discrimination in the U.S. in such areas as education and housing, we feel strongly that U.S. policy must ensure that this kind of discrimination is not tolerated in any form. JVP has already had about 20 meetings in our districts with members of Congress or their staff over the last 6 months to make our views known. We've also drafted policy statements, sent action alerts, and mobilized our supporters across the United States. Our plans for coming months are to double these efforts and to make our voices heard and views known that as American Jews, We respect and support the promotion of equal rights and do not support Israel being allowed to enter the visa waiver program as long as it continues a policy of discrimination and does not treat all U.S. citizens with the respect they deserve. What is being called for, quite simply, is to not grant special privileges to Israel without requiring that basic fundamental rights are respected. This is, at its core, a moral issue. Thank you.